Last year, we fixed over 100 of the Samsung One Connect boxes for the Frame TV, and today I'm going to show you exactly how we diagnose them and fix them. My first step is to open it up. For the diagnostic process, you only need a screwdriver and a multimeter. I'm going to use this little tool to pry away the upper shell from the bottom shell. A flathead screwdriver would work just as well. My first step is to do continuity checks on the fuses, and on this power supply there are two of them. The first one is located next to the power connector over here. And I do have a beep, which means I have continuity, which is good. That means that fuse is working as it should. My second one is over here. And this one I do not have continuity on, which means that it has failed open and will need to be replaced. Now, the fuses don't typically fail on their own. Usually when they fail, it means that there is another component down the line that has also failed that we'll need to find. Now, at this point, if you are just doing the diagnostic, there is no further steps to take. You have confirmed your power supply in the One Connect box is defective and needs to be repaired or replaced. For further checks, we're gonna have to check the back side. So let's disconnect this connector over here. And I have two more screws. Now I can lift the power supply off. And while keeping this component right here next to our fuse we just checked in mind, we're gonna flip the board over, and that's gonna be right here still. And I'll zoom in a second, but I'm gonna put one lead on the middle pin here and my other lead on the outer pins. And we have continuity. On the other one, we also have continuity. Now this is a transistor we were just checking. A transistor is not supposed to have continuity between all of its legs. That means that there is a short, it is defective, and needs to be replaced. Let's switch over to our microscope to take a closer look at that transistor. So it's hard to see because of the silicone that's in the way, but you'll notice that there's a ring, a darker ring around the joint. That indicates that there's a large crack on this transistor leg. If we look at the other one, you can also start to see it form. Now it's not 100% around the entire joint on this one, but it is on this upper one. If we compare to this one, we don't have that darker ring. And so that darker ring, what it indicates is that we have a cracked solder joint on that component's leg, which means that there isn't proper power flow between the component and the rest of the circuit board, which is most likely what caused it to fail in the first place. Okay, let's keep looking around, and more specifically, I want to focus on this resistor here, 2R, and we seem to be able to see a burn mark, but that's a 2-0, which means that this is supposed to be a 2.2 ohm resistor, and when I do a resistance check, I have an open reading, which means that resistor has failed open. Now you'll notice if we follow this side of the component over to this IC chip, it connects directly to it, and most often when we see both that transistor fail shorted and this resistor fail open, usually this IC chip also has damage and will need to be replaced. One way to know for sure that this IC chip has failed is to put one lead on this pin right here where it connects to the 2.2 ohm resistor, and my other pin, I'm going to put it over here, which is the floating ground, the negative side of my filter cap. And looking at my multimeter, I am seeing 24 ohms. Now on a good IC, typically I see 9.8 kilo ohms, so 9.8 thousand ohms. So what this means is I have a fuse, a transistor, a resistor, and an IC chip to replace in order to fix this power supply. So let's get started. My first step is going to be simply removing as much of this silicone that I can on the back, since it's going to get in our way for our soldering. And I'm just using tweezers right now. We'll also use a metal brush to clean it up further. Now, if you don't have the tools or soldering experience to perform these types of repairs, we do offer flat rate services, which come with a 1-year warranty. You can send in your One Connect box and we'll do the repairs for you, the diagnostics, tests, and so on. And I'll have a link for that repair service in the video description below. Now when removing this silicone, you also have to be very careful because a lot of these small components are very fragile and can easily get damaged. Now that I've removed the bulk of it, I'm going to go ahead and use a metal brush to scrub the joints. Try and get rid of a little bit more of it. I don't know if you can tell, but there is still a good amount of silicone that is in the way that I'm having a hard time removing. So we're going to just go for it. I'm going to start by just adding solder to some of our joints. Try and get rid of some of that extra silicone with the iron. Now this is typically bad form because you can damage your soldering iron tips by doing this. Let's see if that helps at all. Now that we got good flow, we can go ahead and use our desolder wick to desolder some of the solder that we just added and some of the original. This last one I'm going to try to desolder, but I have a feeling I won't be able to. And if that's the case, then we'll just pull it through while melting the joints. This one is on a larger pad that typically gives me a little bit more trouble to desolder. Yeah, and that's going to be the case. So I'll add some more solder back to the mix here, and we'll leave that as is for now. Let's just do a quick double check. Yep, this pin is free and clear, and this one as well. Let's get rid of our 2.2 ohm resistor here. So I'm adding solder to both sides. Going to go back and forth real quick. We can desolder that excess solder. And we're not going to replace it yet. Let's remove this IC first, which is very poorly clean. And there's still a lot of silicone, which is not good. That means I did a bad job. Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better. Got good flow. Not getting good flow on this second pin over here. There we go. Now I am. Okay, we're gonna add a little flux, and that's gonna help us get even better flow. I'm gonna rotate the chip, and what I'm gonna do is, using my tweezers, I'm gonna try and pull it up a little bit as I melt one side, disconnect, and then we'll desolder the other side. There we go. Next we can desolder all that extra solder I added. We're going to give the area a quick clean with some isopropyl alcohol and a Q-tip. Now for the reinstallation process, I'm going to tin one of the legs, usually one of the corners. I'm going to bring my IC into place, try to line it up as properly as I can. Now it is locked in with just this one pin, so we'll go ahead and lock in the opposite corner. There we go. All right, perfect. We'll do the same for the resistor. So I'm melting the solder first, laying the component down flat, sliding it in, waiting a second for the solder to solidify, and then we can solder in the other side. Just like that. I think my joints are good, but I prefer be sure. So I'm going to add some flux and we're going to touch them up. I also do have a bit of a horn on the solder there. Clean that up. All right, and that looks good to me. We'll give that a quick clean, remove some of that extra flux I just added. Next, let's flip the board over. And we're going to take a look at this transistor here, which is the shorted one. It is screwed in, so let's remove that screw. And let's see, can I pry it off a little bit? Yep, okay. So what we're going to do here is I have an X-Acto blade. I'm going to try and cut the silicone right next to it. Now there are some small components inside this silicone, so you want to be careful. I believe there's at least one capacitor and possibly a fuse in there somewhere. So you want to be very close to the transistor itself. Then while holding it with my needle nose pliers on one side, we're going to flip the board and we're going to desolder that last leg that was giving me a hard time. and wiggle out the transistor. And there we go. Now that the transistor is out of circuit, it's going to be a lot easier for us to desolder that joint, allegedly. Let's try again here. Sometimes we have to add more solder to get good flow, and then we can really desolder it. Okay, and I think we got it, but we just have a lot of silicone left in the way, so let's try and clean that up a little bit. Get it off of the heatsink. So I think what's going on is I have some sort of component in the way here. Yeah, there we go. I can see there's a little capacitor there. And we don't need to necessarily remove that much. Just enough so we can see all three holes clearly. So I just need to go here. All right, that looks a lot better. So something else we'll notice is the heatsink has some old crusty thermal paste and a little bit of silicone in the way. So we're gonna want to make sure that that's all cleared off and clean. So that looks a lot better. We don't have any more silicone or old thermal paste in the way. But one thing we will need to do is bend the middle leg forward before we apply our thermal paste, which we like to use the MX4. It is high-grade thermal paste and will help increase the heat dissipation away from the transistor and into the heatsink. And we want to make sure we have a nice even coating. All right, we'll feed our component through. I think that's more or less lined up. Okay, there we go. And we definitely want to make sure that that screw is nice and tight. We don't want to strip it either though. Let's solder in our joints. Now it might be hard to tell on camera, but the legs of the components are protruding quite far. So we'll remove that excess. A final flux cleanup. We are in resistance mode. I'm putting my negative lead on the middle pin. And we had shorts originally, but now we have 4 mega ohms. And the other pin is also showing 4 mega ohms. This resistor over here, which is a 2.2 ohm resistor, had failed open. And we are now getting an appropriate reading. So it's going up and down, and that's probably just because I don't have good connection with my leads. I'm going to put the negative lead on the negative side of the filter capacitor, which is our floating ground. And then over here, I think we had 20 some ohms, and we're getting 9.7 kilo ohms, which is the expected reading, which means we got rid of our shorts. Now, if I power on the power supply right now, it will not work at all, and that's because we have still one more component to replace, and that's our fuse. So our fuse is over here, not very far, right there, okay? And this one also has, of course, silicone on it. So we'll do a little bit more cleanup. I didn't clean up in this area previously. If you don't have a One Connect box, you lost it, or it is completely beyond repair, then we also do have some available for sale on our website. If you're not sure which ones to buy, you can always reach out to us first, and I'll have our contact info in the description below as well. And these are also larger joints, so what I'm going to do is the same technique with the transistor. I'm going to use my tweezers. I'm going to put my tweezers on the fuse, and I'm going to try and pull out the fuse one side at a time while melting the joint. It looks like we were successful. Let's try and desolder it. Hopefully first try this time. Perfect. And we'll repeat the process over here. And there we go. So the rating is written on the circuit board. It is a 3.15 amp, 250 volts, which is the rating on this fuse. The replacement we're using is physically smaller, but it is the same rating, so it is an appropriate replacement. Quick cleanup again. And final test. We get a beep when we have continuity. And we have continuity. All right, I'm going to install the power supply back into our One Connect box, and then we'll reconvene for live testing. The box is back together. We are at our testing station. Let's plug it in. One Connect cable and power. And I see our standby light. I heard a click from the box, and we have success. We have a picture. If you found the video helpful or useful, leave us a like, subscribe for more content, and thank you for watching.